20 cars will take the starting green flag from Dover, Delaware's Monster Mile. Points leader, the pride of Rockwall, Texas, Donald Ray, starts on the front row to the inside of part-time driver Cody Pannell with one surprise win this season. It's a sixth race. Will we see six winners? Pace car peels off and we're ready to go racing from Dover. Green flag is out. Round 6 of di9 Designs Thursday Night Thunder is on.
Green, green, green.
Donald Ray leading the first lap ahead of Georgia's Cody Pannell. Pannell on the high side with Dustin Painter sitting in that third position. Now to the inside, the North Carolinian in the 00 Aqua Fresh Grand Prix tries to get one up on Cody Pannell early on in this race. Toby Estes, who had a brilliant run last week at Watkins Glen, marred by a spin and some contact in that final corner, looks to redeem himself this week. He's got Massachusetts' Tom Sears behind him, now under him in the 1-4 light right Race Arts Supra. Then New Jersey's Tristan Catania follows in the 6th position. Thomas Andrews from Stamford, Connecticut in 7th. Richie Catania sitting in 8th. Riley Wright, one of the Kentucky boys, in 9th. And then Missouri's Seth Wansing sits in 10th. Already South Carolina's Jason Alexander finds himself in a big spot of trouble. The Salem native spilling in lap number 2. Oh, Alexander looks like he just got loose right ahead of the 7 car, and Cody Riggs just tries to avoid him. Let's have one more look from Riggs' angle. And some heavy contact for the Kentucky pilot. Back to live pictures. Joshua Garrison has the fastest lap of the race. The Ohio driver with a 23.51 second circuit means he's fastest of all. Donald Ray continues to lead in the number 5 CarQuest Chevy. North Carolina's Dustin Painter gets to the inside of Good Hope's Cody Pannell. Toby Estes sitting on the outside in 4th. A new fastest lap, and this time it's from last week's winner, Jeremy Briel in the number 7-4 Taco Bell Intrepid. He sits to the inside of Florida's Matt Kent. 7 laps underway. Matt Kent rounding out the lucky 13 drivers at the front of this race. Jason Alexander being scored 4 laps down at the moment, but it looks like he's going to be back on track to fight for another lap. Cody Pannell still in second, but behind him it's the 2-wide formation of Dustin Painter in that Aqua Fresh Pontiac and Toby Estes in the Dodge Dealers Intrepid. Tristan Catania rounds out the top 5, and South Carolina's Jason Alexander comes back on the track in the Coors Chevrolet. Tommy Withers in the number 6 Amico Pontiac Grand Prix, sitting in the 15th position. He's got a win this season, and headed into this 6th round, Tommy Withers finds himself 3rd in the di9 Design points standings. He's 1 marker ahead of Thomas Andrews. The Stamford, Connecticut pilot finds himself in the 11th position. There's Thomas Andrews in the 7th position, just ahead of Orlando's Richie Catania. The Floridian behind him in the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet, sitting in 8th right now. Let's ride along with Richie as he tries to overtake Thomas Andrews for 7th. Riley Wright gets to the inside of Catania in his 1-8. Nos Camry Wright moves up into the top 9, gets one over on Richie Catania. Wright trying to move just further up through this field. Riley Wright now chasing down Seth Wansing in the number 9 Cobalt Chevrolet, the Missouri native. Sitting in the 8th position, he comes into this race outside the top 10. Seth is 13th in the di9 Designs point standings. Up at the front of this field, Tom Sears in the number 14 rounds out the top 5. He's behind Jason Alexander, sitting in the 20th position. Dustin Painter in the 00 Aqua Fresh Pontiac. You can see he's some distance behind Toby Estes. Estes into that red Intrepid, chasing down Cody Pannell. There's Pannell in the white Ford Mustang, sitting in second. Cole 315 in the chat says, have a good broadcast, dropping in to show some love. Appreciate you, Cole. Glad to have you here, buddy. Send my love back to the family. Insane Skills earlier in the chat says, don't forget about those Kentucky boys. Talking about one Riley Wright. He's carrying the flag for the Kentucky drivers right now. Wright sitting in the 8th position. Cody Riggs, who had some contact earlier in that Dale Earnhardt livery, number 3. He sits in 17th right now, and the Greensburg native sits ahead of Bahamian Elrich George from Nassau in gorgeous Bahamas. Elrich George is in 18th right now. Daniel Maddox sits in 19th in the number 10 Kodiak machine. Donald Ray ahead by half a second. The Texas native ahead of the Georgian, and the Georgian coming through in that 2-8 with Toby Estes in tow. It is a Chevy Ford Dodge top 3 at Dover. Seth Wansing under fire. He's got Painter to his outside, right behind him, and that's right behind him in that 1-8 to the inside of Dustin Painter. Richie Catania watching. Catania in the 9th position. He's got Tommy Reynolds and Jeremy Brio swapping positions behind him out of that 4th corner. And you see these cars, the way they just bounce up out of that turn. Dover, a track known for that concrete slick surface, and it's not easy to get a stable lap. You can even see the 7-4 of Jeremy Brio loose out of that 2nd corner, struggling to hold it together. That purple 74 machine getting the victory last week at Watkins Glen sits ahead of Tristan Catania in that 48 machine. The Ally Chevrolet looks to the inside with Matt Kent in tow. Just can't quite pull off the overtake. Josh Garrison in the 44 car in the 14th position is at the tail end of this line. Brio finally gives way, and the 7-4 Intrepid will give up 10th, 11th, and 12th. Tristan Catania now in 11th, has Matt Kent behind him. Josh Garrison moves into the 13th position, and John Honeybrink, rounding out the top 15, now has Jeremy Brio up ahead. Cody Pannell sits in the 2nd position. Toby Estes behind him in the 7-8 Dodge Viper Intrepid. Interesting paint scheme on that 7-8 as well. Might have seen something like this in the early 2000s when Dodge was running those paint schemes. It was Evernham Motorsports, I think, rocking the 9 and the 19 on the track. Good little throwback there. Cody Pannell on the inside has caught right up to the back end of Donald Ray, who was overtaken by the 5-3 of Jason Alexander. The South Carolinian has fresh tires and just got around the leader, but now the race leader has a mirror full of white Ford Mustang, and the Georgian wants a taste of the lead. Both Donald Ray and Cody Pannell have a win this season. Will we go a 6th race with a 6th unique winner? Let's find out, but Cody Pannell trying the back end of Donald Ray, and he's looking for daylight around car number 5. Let's ride shotgun with the Georgian. And you can see just the counter steering input that Pannell's having to put in just to stabilize the car. Rising a little bit off of the apron in turn 3, looking to make that 2-8 stick. He's to the inside of Donald Ray. 28 laps into this race, the Texan trying to defend from the Georgian, and Estes in that 7-8 trying to get closer to these two, and he has caught these two. That looks like Dustin Painter that's had an incident, and it is indeed the North Carolinian on the inside now, forcing the top 3 to use the middle line. Painter in that 00 buckshot Pontiac, loose out of the 4th corner, still struggling to get his speed back under his own 4 tires. Pannell, however, does not relent behind the 5 of Ray, trying for that first placed position. Estes now moving to the inside of Pannell. He gets a great run out of that 2nd corner. Estes looking to the inside of car 2-8. This is the battle for 2nd, and Donald Ray breathes a deep sigh of relief. Further on back through the field, John Honeybrink in the 2-0 Old Spice Camry, now behind Jeremy Brio. This is the battle for a spot in the top 10. Honeybrink all over the back end of that 7-4 Dodge, and Tristan Catania in the 48 Ally Chevrolet wants to play too. Honeybrink now moving to the inside. Jeremy Brio trying to fend off the fight. The Taco Bell Dodge on the top side, the Old Spice Camry on the inside line. The sun gleams off that crimson and cream colored Toyota inside off of turn number 4 with a great run on that mauve and midnight colored 7-4 machine. Still side by side discussing the 10th position. Honeybrink is able to clear Brio out of turn number 2 on the 33rd lap, but Brio crosses over to the inside, and the Taco Bell machine wants to live in the top 10. He smells that position, but Honeybrink closes the door. No sweat from that 2-0. He moves on, 34 laps underway, and John Honeybrink takes 10th place. Brio on the top side, watching the 48 of Tristan Catania move to the inside. Tommy Withers in that in the Amico machine. trying to get to the inside of Jeremy Brio as well. This now for 12th. Brio continues to slide back, and I don't know if the 2-4s just lost their line. Brio gets into the wall, and it could be the tires on car 74. 36 laps into this race, and there's a big crash from the 48 and the 6 as Brio slides through, but everybody keeps it moving and keeps it going in one straight line. We stay green with Donald Ray leading in that 5 car. The 2.8 of Cody Pannell behind him by 1/4 of a second. Toby Estes now under fire, and the Massachusetts pilot Tom Sears in the 1.4 Race Arcs Supra moves into 3rd. It's a Chevy Ford Toyota top 3. Cody Pannell to the inside of Donald Ray. Can he make it stick this time? No! Pannell way loose out of turn number 4. Donald Ray holds on to that first place 39 laps into this event, and you can see the tires are starting to wear. A 1/4 of a second remains the lead for Rockwall's Donald Ray, with good hopes Cody Pannell in 2nd, Chevy Ford at the top, but then it's been a battle between Toyota and Dodge for the 3rd and 4th positions. Richie Catania now to the inside of one of those Kentucky pilots. Briley Wright in the NOS Camry gives up the 5th position. Cody Pannell decides to bring his race car down pit road, as does Cody Riggs for the 2nd time today, but this is the first of the leaders that's decided to come down, and the number 2.8 Ford is in 11th. He'll obviously lose a lap in lieu of getting 4 tires and fuel. Donald Ray still at the top. That's going to move Tom Sears into position number 2. Toby Estes in that 3rd position. But now the question has to be begged as you see Jeremy Brio with 2 puffs of white smoke screech his way into pit road. Brio is now in, but who else will join him? Which of the lead lap cars will break formation and come down pit road for tires and fuel? The di9 Designs track facts say drivers have between 35 and 45 laps to get the most out of their run. You see race leader Donald Ray comes down pit road, so that will give the race lead to Tom Sears in the 1.4 Arcs Racing Toyota. Sears leads. Richie Catania now in that 2nd position, and Kentucky's Briley Wright moves into 3rd. Matt Kent sits in 4th now in his 3-1 Pepsi Chevrolet, and John Honeybrink inherits a position in the top 5. All of the drivers minus our top 6 positions have come down pit road. Even Elrich George has come down for tires and fuel. Tommy Withers in 6th, yet to come in. Richie Catania finally gives in, and the tires can take no more. The Floridian comes down pit road for tires and fuel. Tom Sears leads the rest of the stragglers. The leader, there's Briley Wright, who I was just saying has not come down pit road. He does, so Matt Kent now moves into 2nd. That's going to put John Honeybrink in 3rd. Daniel Maddox has not come down pit road either. The number 10 Kodiak car sits in 7th, and you have to just assume they're gambling on a yellow now. Tom Sears continues to lead. Let's see what the driving style looks like on 48-lap old tires. You can hear the tires squealing in the 31 machine of Matt Kent as he moves into the lead, with Tom Sears coming down pit road for those tires. So that just leaves the top 3 drivers that have yet to come down pit road. Matt Kent leading, John Honeybrink in that 2nd position, and Tommy Withers sitting in 3rd. But you just saw behind Honeybrink the 2.8 of Cody Pannell, and watch the gap from the 2.8 just flying around that 20 car. Fresh tires are the move. Cody Pannell pitting on lap 40, and John Honeybrink, tires that are just far more old. Briley Wright now coming behind that 2.0 car, and you'll see some Camry on Camry action in this 2nd corner. Watch the 1.8 of Briley Wright make light work of Honeybrink in the 2.0. So 52 laps are underway. The top 3 have still yet to pit, as Matt Kent looks like he makes friends with the fans in turns 1 and 2. The number 3-1 Pepsi Chevrolet gets acquainted with the outside wall. John Honeybrink in 2nd by 4 seconds. Elrich George sitting in 3rd. The Bahamian up 17 places from where he started, but again, he has yet to make that pit stop. John Honeybrink also up 17 places from where he started in position number 2, and there was the race leader when the cycle started. Donald Ray up to the 5th position right now, finds himself 1 lap down, but he's behind Cody Pannell, who pitted 3 laps earlier. Pannell with a pit stop time of 14.75 seconds, more than a quarter of a second quicker than Donald Ray on pit road. About half second quicker on pit road, and almost half a second quicker in the pit stop total. So Cody Pannell really winning the pit lane battle there. He sits in the 4th position right now, the fastest of all the cars that are a lap down. There's race leader Matt Kent now leaving turn number 4. Cody Pannell has unlapped himself, and Donald Ray looking to do the same thing. There's race leader Matthew Kent just ahead of Texan Donald Ray. Kent still gambling on that yellow, and we have a new fastest driver. Tom Sears with a 23.46 just went purple, and the Massachusetts native now has the fastest lap of the race. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Repeat 1975 graces the chat with his presence. Matthew Kent continues to lead. Repeat 1975, almost the Godfather type figure. Showed me just about everything I know. Let's go ahead and drop his link in the chat so you all can give him a click, a follow, a subscription. This guy is the man. Follow him at Repeat 1975. Matthew Kent still has the lead, and Tristan Catania now moves to the inside of car 31. Catania unlapping himself. Kent still up front, and John Honeybrink 3 seconds behind in the Old Spice Camry. Cody Pannell sits in 3rd, 11 seconds behind John Honeybrink, and over the last 5 laps, Honeybrink has been consistently slower than Pannell by no less than 1.2 seconds each lap. .59 laps underway of the scheduled 180. We've been caution-free thus far. Matthew Kent leads with John Honeybrink in that second position and good old Cody Pannell sitting in third. AKW just subscribed. Appreciate you, AKW. Oh, and that's a gift from Repeat 1975, no less. Thank you, my friend Repeat. Glad to have you here, buddy. Send my love back to that family once again. And thank you, AKW. Enjoy that new subscription, courtesy of the man, the myth, the legend, Repeat 1975. And it's finally happened. Matt Kent brings his number 3-1 Pepsi machine down pit road. And he's going to come get 4 tires and fuel. Cody Pannell, now your new leader in the 2.8 Ford Mustang. John Honeybrink is also in, and Donald Ray inherits the second position. Donald Ray going for 2 wins tonight at Dover. He's got Toby Estes, who has not won a race and is looking for his first. Estes came close last week at Watkins Glen, but unfortunately a little bit of contact took Estes around in that final corner and knocked him out of contention. Oh, and another subscription courtesy of Repeat 1975. He's gifted a subscription to Lurkin Tom Gaming, aka Tom Sears, the driver of this number 1-4 Supra. Sears now looking to the inside of Tristan Catania. Catania sitting in the 12th position. Catania finds himself 1 lap down. Only the top 7 drivers are on the lead lap, with Briley Wright now entering turn number 1 and race leader Cody Pannell hot on his heels. Will Pannell relent? Will he keep it pushing? Donald Ray, 4 1/2 seconds behind, and over the last 5 laps, you can see that Cody Pannell has been just a bit slower than Donald Ray. That last time on lap 64, Cody Pannell, 3/100ths quicker than the Texas native, 4.8 seconds now the gap between first and second place. Brio sitting in the 8th position, only a third of a second ahead of Josh Garrison in the number 4-4 Coast Guard Dodge. Pete says, we'll catch up soon, bud. Have a great race. I will, Pete. Thank you, my friend. Josh Garrison up 3 places from where he started coming into tonight's event. Josh Garrison is being scored, it looks like, if I can do my math right, which I can't, in the 18th position. He only finds himself 1 point behind Daniel Maddox. Maddox, who's running 17th in this race. Garrison running 9th in this race. So Garrison is looking to make up quite a few places. He's got Toby Estes to his inside, but the pilot of the number 7-8 Dodge Viper Intrepid not fighting for position. Estes finds himself 9/10 behind second place Donald Ray, who continues to languish behind Cody Pannell, who's now opened a 5-second gap over the competition. It's been quite a nice race for a lot of these drivers so far. Cody Pannell mentioned, Donald Ray as well. Got to say something for Matthew Kent, though. He is in the 12th position, working on Tommy Withers for a spot in the top 11. Kent coming into tonight's race just a bit further down. He's outside the top 24 in points, given that he's run a part-time schedule. But Kent now gets around Tommy Withers. He's in that top 11, and Josh Garrison next on his list, but Garrison decides to bring his 44 Coast Guard Dodge down pit road. Matt Kent moves up into the top 10. Tristan Catania 1.3 seconds ahead of Kent, who came in on lap number 60. So Matt Kent is off cycle, but he is on the move now, and he's showing the strength of those fresh Goodyears. Kent in the top 10, and he's made up half a second on Tristan Catania in that last lap. 7/10 to be exact, and Matt Kent now moves up into 9th. He's up 4 places from where he started. Jeremy Brio 6 seconds ahead, but he last pitted on lap 41, so he's going to have to get it moving or soon succumb to the fresh tires on that 31 car. If you've just joined us, I'm Rick James, and you're watching round number 6 of Thursday Night Thunder from iRacing's Dover Motor Speedway, as it's now called. Some might think it's Dover International, but recently in November, it was purchased by the folks over at ISC, the same people that own Atlanta, Texas, Charlotte, and the rest. And Dover Motor Speedway hosting this 6th race of 12, so this will mark the halfway point in the season. The 1 mile oval has a 180 lap scheduled distance today. Some drivers able to make it between 40 and 50 laps on one run, depending on how far they want to stretch those tires. It hasn't always been concrete, Dover Motor Speedway. It was an asphalt circuit from its inception in 1969 all the way to the mid-90s when the surface was changed over to concrete, giving it that slippery character we know now. You see the number 5 of Donald Ray leaving pit road, and the second pit stop cycle has started on lap 75. The Texan leaving pit road 2 laps down in 13th. Dustin Painter being scored out of the race for the moment, and we hope that's not the internet gone on the 00. Painter having a great season so far, but unfortunately not being able to nail together a win yet. He comes into the points second, and hopefully Painter can fight back. But Ray is now on the move. He's on the inside of Tom Sears, who's in third. Sears hasn't pitted in 30 laps, and now everybody watching when the leaders will come down pit road. Georgia's Cody Pannell last pitting on lap 40. Toby Estison second, pitting on lap 44. Tom Sears last pitting on lap 48. Matter of fact, all of the top 7 have not pitted since as late as lap 48. We'll see who makes their tires last the longest. 77 laps are underway, now completed. Cody Pannell begins the 78th lap of competition at Dover. Toby Estes decides to bring his number 78 Intrepid in. Fresh tires and fuel coming up for the pilot of the Dodge. Now all of the top 5 still have yet to pit, with Cody Pannell with a 6 1/3 second advantage over the rest of the brigade. Tommy Reynolds sitting in 3rd. Seth Wansing being scored in that 4th position. Wansing is up 6 places from where he started and headed into tonight's race. Seth finds himself 13th in the points standings, tied for 13th with 2 other drivers, the 7 of Tommy Reynolds, who finds himself running in 3rd, and then the 24 of Richie Catania, who finds himself running in 14th. So a lot of points about to go every different way. Drivers need to fight for every inch that they can. Donald Ray showing a lot of fight with those fresh tires. He just went purple with a 23.45 second lap. That makes Donald Ray the quickest driver today. Tommy Reynolds, your new leader now with 100 laps to go. Tom Sears and Seth Wansing have brought their race cars down pit road. Matthew Kent in that third position. Last pitted on lap 60. Don't expect to see him down pit road for at least another 10 laps. But Reynolds now running, and Reynolds on the way down pit road, so Matthew Kent will inherit the lead and become our new leader in car 31. Tommy Withers finds himself 7.5 seconds behind Matthew Kent. John Honeybrink finds himself 4/10 behind Tommy Withers. This fight for second just before the pit stop cycle is about to get interesting. Honeybrink to the inside of Withers with tires that are 10 laps more fresh. The Old Spice Camry making use of those good years while he still has life in them. Honeybrink up to second. Matthew Kent continues to lead, but how long will the Pepsi Chevrolet stay out? Riley Wright finds himself in 12th, a lap down. Wright has tires that are 20 laps more fresh than Kent, and he shows the muscle in that NOS Camry. Riley Wright now brings himself from 2 laps to 1 lap down. New fastest driver in the 8th position, Tom Sears, who came down on lap 80 with a 23.44, now has gone purple for the race. Cody Pannell with a 23.49, running his personal fastest lap, but Pannell has tires that are 7 laps more fresh than Ray. Will he attack with those fresh Goodyears, or will he just let it ride? Dan Maddox on the outside in the 1-0 Kodiak car. He's running in 14th. Pannell immediately goes to the inside and overtakes Donald Ray for 4th easily. The Texas driver lets him go by, and perhaps Ray is on a conservation strategy. The CarQuest Chevrolet looking to survive and possibly save one of those sets of tires for the very end. John Honeybrink behind him by 7.6 seconds. Tommy Withers in 3rd. He's up 14 places from where he started. Rounding out your top 10 is Riley Wright in the NOS machine. And then there's Cody Riggs in the number 3 Chevrolet with a pretty cool paint scheme. Cody's pretty cool himself. And he gets into the wall just as Tom Sears does as well. Sears, running right behind Riggs, was trying to overtake him on the high side, but Sears now has to double think that, and he goes to the inside this time through turn number 2, both drivers simultaneously skidding on the outside of turn 4. Matty Kent leading this race still by 7.3 seconds. Kent last pitted on lap 60, so this will be his 39th lap on this set of tires. Kent, is he gambling on the yellow? Will he get his wish? And how brave will he be to stay out on these tires? John Honeybrink and Tommy Withers. Well, Withers now being shown up by the fresh tires on Cody Pannell. 29 laps is the difference between Tommy Withers and Cody Pannell. 19 laps is the difference between Cody Pannell and John Honeybrink. But these drivers can't stay competitive for much longer. Seth Wansing knows it as he comes up on the 20 car of Honeybrink, and so does Matt Kent. That's Thomas Andrews into the number 2 Miller Chevrolet. He's going to the inside of Matthew Kent to get one of his laps back. Thomas Andrews currently runs in the 18th position. Coming into this race, he won the season opener at Rockingham. He finds himself just 1 point outside the top 3. No playoffs in Thursday Night Thunder. Every race counts, and top 10 or not, drivers can clinch this championship early, but it doesn't look like they will, as the top 2 drivers are separated by only 11 points. This marks the halfway point in this 12-race season. These Generation 4 cars have put on an amazing show in these 6 races so far, and I can't wait for the second half of this competition. Cody Pannell can't wait for the second half of this race. We've just crossed that halfway mark, and Pannell finds himself 4.9 seconds behind Matt Kent. And over the last 5 laps, Cody Pannell has been quicker by at least 1.1 seconds every single time, and it's only a matter of a few laps before Cody Pannell makes up that 4-second gap to Matt Kent. Donald Ray finds himself in the 5th position, but he's got the 48 of Tristan Catania moving to his inside. The New Jersey pilot, last pitting on lap 83, has tires that are 11 laps fresher than Donald Ray. Tommy Withers behind him in that 6th position still has not come down pit road since lap 50. This makes 44 laps he's put on his tires, and Withers has got to be stretching these tires out for a yellow, or at least just trying to save one set if it comes to a late race caution. We're inside the final 90 laps at Dover. Matt Kent continues to lead, but Cody Pannell begins to slowly reel him in to the tune of 1.4 seconds a lap. Let's ride around with the Georgian and see how he conquers Dover. There goes Cody Pannell to the inside of Matthew Kent, and just that easily, the race lead changes. New leader in car 28, Cody Pannell. Kent stays resilient in that 2nd position. Toby Estes is 6 seconds behind him. John Honeybrink still has yet to come down pit road from that first cycle. He went 60 laps. Donald Ray slowly reeling in Honeybrink. Let's see what the world looks like from the cockpit of car number 5. Ray in that 5th position with Briley right behind him in the NOS Camry. There's John Honeybrink sitting just ahead of those two while the race rages on at the front of the competition. Cody Pannell still in front. He's gotten around Cody Riggs in that number 3. Matt Kent sits in the 2nd position. That Pepsi Chevrolet having a licking good time in the top 2. Toby Estes reeling him in. John Honeybrink also doing the same. There's Donald Ray on the outside of Tom Sears. These two battling hard for that 5th position. Now inside the final 80 laps of action. Sears looking to gain some crucial points on the points leader. Tom Sears rolls into this 6th round, 10th in the standings. He finds himself 5 points behind Ryan Pannell, who's not present in tonight's race. 6 points behind Tristan Catania, who's 8 places back in 12th. Tom Sears, where he started in 5th, he stands to gain a boatload of points if he can score a top 5 finish, but there's still so many laps remain. More than 75 circuits to go from Dover. Sears sitting in 5th. trying to make something of that space on John Honeybrink, the Old Spice Camry. Can he hold on? Tommy Withers is ahead in that number 6 Pontiac, but Withers sits in the 13th spot, 2 laps off the pace. 8 cars remain on the lead lap with Seth Wansing in the 9, sitting ahead of Cody Riggs on the track. Next up is Tommy Reynolds, who's 1 second ahead of Seth Wansing. Reynolds making his way under the Ally Bridge, following Jeremy Brio. Donald Ray comes down pit road for another pit stop, and the Texas driver is in on lap 105 of 180. The points leader possibly making some strategic moves, trying to get tires off cycle. Is he trying to confuse the competition? Cody Pannell leads Matthew Kent by 6 seconds. Kent has 46 laps on these tires, and he's making brilliant use of them. The next driver that pitted on cycle with the rest of the leaders would be Tom Sears, who pitted on lap 80. Sears already has 26 laps of wear on his tires. Last time around, Tom Sears put in a 23.43 second lap, where Matt Kent dropped in a 23.75. Despite the 20 lap difference in their rubber, Kent seems to make those good years last almost twice as long as the rest of the competition. But now Toby Estes has caught up to that 31 car. Estes grinds on the outside of the turn 3 wall and finds it difficult to get around Kent. Estes can't put the bumper of his Viper to the inside of the Monte Carlo. 108 laps are underway. Matt Kent viciously defending against Estes in second. Estes opens up a path underneath car 31, and he puts his Viper on the inside where it sticks. Tommy Withers in the Amoco Grand Prix says, "I'll have some of that too." Toby Estes now moves into the 2nd position. Matthew Kent in 3rd, but still challenging as Estes finds a difficult line through the 3rd and 4th corner. Pole sitter Donald Ray re-enters the racetrack in 13th, 2 laps down, right behind the 3-1 of Matthew Kent, and he had to check up hard to avoid contact between the two. Bahamian Elrich George brings his Caterpillar Dodge down pit road, tires and fuel for the Nassau driver. Toby Estes still in 2nd, now has a 1.5 second gap to Matt Kent. He's now being reeled in by Tom Sears. Sears in that 14 car, doing a great job muscling around the racetrack. He's got Thomas Andrews up ahead. Andrews running in the 17th position. This is the gap between Tom Sears and Matt Kent in 4th and 3rd, respectively. Sears driving laps about 0.8 quicker than Matt Kent at the moment. Matt Kent now with 52 laps on these tires. It's been the longest run of any driver. I don't even think it's a gamble anymore. Matt Kent just purely on conservation, and it's working for him. When that 31 does come down pit road, if it comes down to tires, he will have the upper hand. We are inside the final 70 laps of action. Matt Kent driving a brilliant strategy so far, but can he make it work for him? Tommy Reynolds is one driver who's catching up to competition that's ahead. He's chasing down Seth Wansing, who finds himself ahead of Kentucky's Cody Riggs. Riggs in that 3 car, trying to get around Seth Wansing in the 9 car. Not for position though. Riggs sitting in 15th in the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Cody Riggs last pitting on lap 85. Seth Wansing last pitting on lap 80. Possibly Riggs has found some speed late on in that number 3. Tristan Catania and Donald Ray side by side as the New Jersey driver goes high, wide, and handsome in the 3rd corner. The Ally Chevrolet losing a bit of grip, while the CarQuest Monte Carlo, or is that an Impala, excuse me? The CarQuest Impala, well, no, it does say Monte Carlo on the front. I was wrong again. So it is a CarQuest Monte Carlo. Moves into 11th position. Tommy Withers is 2 seconds up ahead. He rounds out the top 10. Toby Estes, by his lonesome last time around, put in a 25.16 second lap. only 1/10 slower than Cody Pannell, but Pannell, with great advantage, has a 9.6 second gap over the rest of the field. He ate his Wheaties today, and the 2-8 Ford now gets around Tommy Reynolds in 6th. Cody Pannell has left 5 cars on the lead lap with more than 63 laps remaining. All for nothing if he can't make it stick and drive that car into victory lane. We'll see how the ball bounces in these final 62 circuits. Tommy Reynolds gets into the wall to give the race leader enough room. Briley Wright finds himself 12 seconds behind the top 6. Donald Ray making moves again, this time to the inside of Tommy Withers. That's going to elevate Ray into the 9th spot, and he keeps on climbing. Jeremy Brio 5.2 seconds ahead of the Texan. Briley Wright 8 seconds ahead of Brio. Matt Kent finds himself, it looks like he got loose there out of that 4th corner, and the 14 of Tom Sears will overtake him. Matt Kent, no matter what happens here, he's just been driving a clinic on tire conservation, driving it like he stole it, not stopping for anything. And if he can make it 2 more laps on these tires, he'll have made it 60 circuits. And there's the curse of the commentator. Matthew Kent does get 2 tires across the pit road commitment box, and he sheepishly makes it down pit road. The 3-1 Pepsi Chevrolet makes it in for tires and for fuel. Matt Kent going 59 laps on 1 set of tires. What will it mean for him? He's going to have 1 extra set if a late race caution comes out, doing what some thought was impossible. Kent rolling the dice, and we'll see where they land 60 laps from now. Toby Estes, now your race leader as the 2nd cycle has come on. Estes coming down pit road for tires and fuel himself. Cody Pannell pitted on lap 118. He's now out of pit road with fresh tires and fuel. Seth Wansing, Richie Catania, both pitting on lap 115, the 9 and the 24, respectively, in the top 13. Dan Maddox also brings his number 10 Kodiak machine down pit road. Toby Estes gently lists across your screen past the driver of the 10. Estes has decided to come down pit road, and Tom Sears, who has 41 laps on his Goodyears, will not come down pit road. So the driver of the 1-4 is your new leader at Dover. Tom Sears is the Pied Piper at Dover Downs, with Briley Wright inheriting the 2nd position. Donald Ray, who last pitted on lap 104, moves into 3rd. Cody Pannell has a 14-lap advantage on tires, and Pannell is now on the back bumper of the Texan. This is the battle for 3rd. 3 wide down the front straight. How brave are they? Something's got to give, and Cody Pannell wisely gives up the inside line to Donald Ray. There's race leader Tom Sears, who sees those drivers get a lap back while the pit stops cycle through. Pannell back to the inside of Donald Ray, and Donald Ray will see that white Ford Mustang sail on into that Dover sunset. Ray finds himself in 4th. Pannell finds himself in 5th. Tom Sears continues to lead. Briley Wright brings his number 18 NOS Camry down pit road. 1/2 of the Kentucky boys comes for tires and fuel. The other being Cody Riggs in the number 3 car. He's cool. He's all right. He's doing a great job in the top 14. Not so bad for the Kentucky driver. All eyes on this Massachusetts pilot, Tom Sears, the 1-4 Race Arcs Supra, leading by 19 seconds over Cody Pannell, who's unlapped himself. Only 4 cars on the lead lap in this current pit stop cycle. And if you've just tuned in, I'm Rick James. You're watching the 3rd pit stop cycle from Dover, Delaware. iRacing's Dover Motor Speedway is the site for round 6 of di9 Design's Thursday Night Thunder. We'll be halfway through the season when the checkered flag flies tonight. and we are inside the final 55 laps of action. 55 miles to go. Cody Pannell seeking to be the first repeat winner this season. We've gone 5 races without a duplicate driver in victory lane. Tom Sears comes into this race winless. Donald Ray, Jeremy Brio, Tommy Withers have all won races this season. Seth Wansing in the 9 car has not. There is race leader Tom Sears coming down pit road. There is his second place rival, Georgian Cody Pannell, now will inherit the lead from the Massachusetts native on lap 127 and begin lap 128 with car 28 on the point. Tristan Catania giving way to the new race leader. Catania finds himself in 7th now, 1 lap down after the race leader gets beyond him. Toby Estes moves his number 7-8 Dodge Intrepid to the inside of Catania. Estes pitted 2 laps after Cody Pannell, but is he that much faster, or is he just trying hard to unlap himself? Estes finds himself not the first car on the lead lap, but the first car 2 laps down. Estes will look to get this, well, he'll have to earn a wave around, won't he? But he's starting to creep up and invade the rearview mirror of Cody Pannell. Donald Ray 7 seconds adrift of the lead. Jeremy Brio 4 seconds beyond him. Tommy Withers another 4.5 seconds back. Drivers are very sparsely spread on the racetrack, coming to 50 laps to go. Some of them really stretching their tires, like Tristan Catania, who last pitted on lap 83. He's got almost 50 laps on his Goodyears. Some drivers like Matthew Kent, who find himself 2 laps down. We know Kent can stretch that rubber 60 laps, but will he need to? We've got 50 laps to go. Matt Kent hoping for a late race caution to get some well-earned fresh Goodyears and make a charge for the top 10. Estes finds himself on the brink of that top 10 with John Honeybrink now in the 7th position, getting around Tristan Catania, who's come down pit road. Tom Sears will get around Tristan Catania for position as well, and the Massachusetts native moves into 8th. Toby Estes, with those fresh tires, will also move up into the top 9, and Briley Wright will move into the top 10 with Tristan Catania's choice to come down pit road. Cody Riggs is also down pit road for tires and fuel. The Kentucky pilot trying to make something of this race and secure a top 15 position. The Greensburg native. Big fan of Dale Earnhardt and rocking some Dale Earnhardt paint schemes this season. Glad to see a little bit of love for one of the greats in this series. Talking about a great drivers in this series, however, Cody Pannell leading Donald Ray by 13 seconds. Pannell has made, to my knowledge, 2 starts in Thursday Night Thunder. He finds himself in the 13th position, looking for his, in the 20th position, looking for his 2nd race win in as many starts. Cody Pannell just running away with this one, but can he hang on? You're looking at the fight for 5th as Seth Wansing buys himself a little more time on the lead lap. Cody Pannell all over the back end of that number 9 Cobalt Chevrolet. Wansing about to go a lap down. Jeremy Brio next. He's in 3rd, but Brio has not pitted since lap 80. That's 56 laps of wear for Jeremy Brio, and the next stop could be the last for car 7-4. Pannell to the inside of Wansing, and Pannell now leaving 3 cars on the lead lap, coming to 40 laps to go at Dover. Cody Pannell dominating this race and trying to hold on. What a tragedy it would be if the 28 came up anywhere short of first place. Pannell looking to be the first repeat winner in Season 4. Tommy Withers brings the Amoco Pontiac down pit road. The Dave Blaney-inspired paint scheme comes down for tires and fuel, and it will be 42 laps to go for Withers. This could be the final stop for the 6 car. Rockwall's Donald Ray sits 5 seconds ahead of Jeremy Brio. That's Tom Sears in 7th, who has tires that are 23 laps more fresh than Ray, and Ray easily gives way. Doesn't put up a fight, and he's just looking to preserve his top 3 position. He's got a good lead and a good advantage on grip over Jeremy Brio. Here comes Matthew Kent, however, in that 31. He's approaching the Texan, and he wants to get a move on. One of the more interesting drivers in this 6th round, really going left field with his tire strategy, and we're going to see how that plays off for him in the last 40 laps. Cody Pannell able to stretch his tires approximately 40 to 50 laps on one set. He last pitted on lap 118, so expect Pannell to come in with roughly about 20 laps to go, but will he stretch it? He's seen Matt Kent do it, but at the cost of great speed. Does Pannell have that sort of time? He does have a 20-second advantage over Donald Ray. You just saw the 7-4 of Jeremy Brio come down pit road. He's got 60 laps of wear on his tires, and the Taco Bell Dodge has finally had enough. John Honeybrink now moving up on Tommy Reynolds. This is the battle for the 4th position. 7 laps of wear is the difference between these two. Let's ride shotgun with Honeybrink as he tries to overtake Reynolds for 4th. Tom Reynolds getting loose out of turn number 4, and you heard he had to give the engine a big checkup just to save that 7 car from crashing, and does so brilliantly. The pride of Rockwall, Texas, Donald Ray, brings the number 5 CarQuest Chevrolet down pit road. This could be the money stop for the one-time winner this season. He comes down with just over 35 laps remaining in the scheduled distance of the race. Cody Pannell will put him 1 lap down. Seth Wanting is in 2nd by 31 seconds. That means that Cody Pannell has lapped this entire field. It's been a dominating, exhilarating performance from the driver of the 28 in what is only his 2nd, possibly only his 3rd start in 6 races. Cody Pannell putting up a brilliant hit rate for all of his TNT starts, but he's got to finish to win this race. We're quickly approaching the final 30 laps of competition. John Honeybrink sits in 3rd, 5 seconds behind Seth Wansing. Matt Kent and Jeremy Brio now stuck behind Donald Ray. You're looking at Ray in 7th, Kent in 8th, Brio in 9th. Brio all over the back end of that 31 car, wiggling high in turn number 2, side by side down the back straight, and Jeremy Brio now has grip on the top side. He clears Matthew Kent for the 8th spot. Tommy Withers now trying to get around that 3-1 of Kent. Matt Kent last coming down pit road on lap 118, and you can see the tires have worn on that 31 car. Kent now sliding out of the top 10. He finds himself 2 laps down. Tristan Catania is next on the list, some 17 seconds behind the pilot of the 31 car. Catania currently finds himself behind Tom Sears and John Honeybrink. They're running 4th and 3rd respectively. Race leader is in. Cody Pannell has decided to come down pit road for what could be the final time in his evening. Approaching 31 laps to go, the Georgian will now give everybody 1 or 2 of their laps back as he slowly comes down pit road for tires and fuel. No mistakes now can be made for car 28 as other drivers are putting in purple laps. Cody Pannell has got to hit his marks and hope that he does not catch a speeding ticket down pit road. Donald Ray, with a 23.42 second lap, puts in the fastest time around the 1 mile concrete oval of Dover, and he puts himself back on the lead lap, getting around Cody Pannell down pit road. So Donald Ray is in 7th, 13 seconds behind Briley Wright. Temporary race leader Seth Wansing is in pit road. The two-time above-average heat champion comes down for his money stop. The Lowe's Cobalt Impala getting tires and fuel for the last time today, as is Tommy Reynolds, who comes in behind him. He gives up the 4th position. Only 6 cars are on the lead lap now that Cody Pannell is back in racing form, and he is out there for that race win. Can anybody hold him off, strategy or speed-wise? We're inside the final 30 miles of racing at Dover. Tom Sears leads. He last pitted on lap 127. Donald Ray now gets himself on the lead lap, and the number 5 CarQuest Chevy is a man on a mission. 51.42 seconds was the time Donald Ray spent on pit road, compared to Cody Pannell, who put in 52.67 seconds. Almost 1.5 seconds slower than Donald Ray on pit road. Pit stop times between Pannell and Ray just 1/10 apart. Briley Wright sits in 4th with tires that are 20 laps more old than Donald Ray, who's chasing him down to the tune of half a second a lap. John Honeybrink last pitted on lap 120. Cody Pannell has tires that are 30 laps more fresh than Honeybrink. 6.5 seconds is the gap for now, but over the last 5 laps, Cody Pannell has, 3 laps, let's say, Cody Pannell has been quicker by at least 1.1 seconds over the 20 of John Honeybrink, and Honeybrink will be overtaken for second in at least the next 5 laps. At most, the next 5 laps, sorry. 25 laps to go this time by for Massachusetts' Tom Sears, who sees John Honeybrink behind him by 1 1/3 seconds. Tommy Withers catching up to Jeremy Brio. Brio with tires that are fresher than Withers, but will he hold on? Withers is up 10 spots from where he started in 17th, doing a brilliant job so far. Another race win might be out of the question, but he's certainly going to keep his place in the top 5 if he can cement a good finish. Those of you that have just tuned in, you're watching Jeremy Brio go to the inside of John Honeybrink, not for position, as drivers have cycled through their final stops. Or have they? Tom Sears last pitting on lap 127. He would need to stretch these tires 53 laps if he intends on finishing the race on this set of Goodyear Eagles. Toby Estes works his way around Sears. Estes sits in the 12th position, 1 lap down. Cody Pannell, 1.7 seconds behind Tom Sears, and he's been the shining, glittering darling of tonight's race. Only his second start in the series, looking to go for 2 wins. His third start in the series, and he's looking to go for 2 wins and 3 starts. He now moves to the inside of Tommy Withers. Cody Pannell taking the lead from Tom Sears, who comes down pit road for what would be the final time. And the next closest rival to Cody Pannell finds himself 15 seconds behind Donald Ray, driving a brilliant race as well. But just not enough for this driver here. Cody Pannell has to survive for 21 more laps around Dover, and the number 28 Ford can call himself the first repeat winner in Thursday Night Thunder. There's Briley Wright, half a second ahead of Donald Ray. Will he put up a fight in these last 20 laps? Tommy Reynolds looking to take advantage of Donald Ray's position in turn number 1. Not for position, though. Reynolds finds himself in 9th. Donald Ray is in 3rd. 11 seconds behind John Honeybrink, but there's 23 laps of difference on their tires. Cody Pannell just expressing that lead by more than 6.5 seconds into turn number 3. Toby Estes finds himself behind Tristan Catania. These two fighting for 10th with 19 laps remaining. Catania wiggles out of turn number 4, opens the door for Estes, and there's Cody Pannell in the 2.8 looking to put Estes a second lap down almost immediately after he gets under Catania. "16 more miles remain for the Good Hope native, who's got a 9-second advantage to this driver here. It's 9 more seconds to Donald Ray, who sits in the 3rd position. And over the last 5 laps, Donald Ray has chipped into Honeybrink's gap by 8 tenths, 7 tenths, 7 tenths again, 6 tenths that last lap. And this time around, Donald Ray is quicker than John Honeybrink. By how much? 6 tenths of a second. So Ray's going to have to get the let out if he intends on getting up to John Honeybrink. He's 8.3 seconds behind, and quick math tells you it's not enough laps to chip in to that second position. But Donald Ray going for another podium this season. Briley Wright's 3.5 seconds behind him, and over the last 5 laps, Donald Ray has been opening that lead over Briley Wright. So Wright's looking to hold on to that top 4 position and get a good finish for his fans back home in Kentucky. Tommy Reynolds working on the outside of Dan Maddox. He's trying to catch up to Matt Kent. Kent last pitted on lap 118, and he finds himself in the 8th position with lucky number 13 laps to go next time by. Matt Kent and Tommy Reynolds fighting for 8th. The di9 Designs points showing you that Tommy Reynolds comes into this race 13th in points. Matt Kent finds himself outside that top 20, but still looking to gain lots of positions. He could be on this board next week if he scores a top 10. Dustin Painter brings his 00 buckshot Pontiac down pit road. Painter finds himself 8 laps down. He comes into this race 2nd in points, and it's only a 2-point gap between him and Tommy Withers. Withers finds himself in 6th, 11 places from where he started, and you better believe that there's going to be a big shakeup at the halfway mark in this season. Cody Pannell chasing down Donald Ray, looking to put the 5 car 1 lap down. Pannell coming to 10 laps to go. Thomas Andrews sitting in the 16th spot. He's trying to stay ahead of Cody Riggs. Andrews finds himself 21 laps down in 16th, but you've got to appreciate the fighting spirit that these drivers just continue to push on with. The Miller Chevrolet now catching up to that 14 ARCS Supra. Tom Sears running in 10th as both he and Andrews make their way to the inside of Dan Maddox. The Kodiak machine sits in 17th. Cody Pannell at the top of this race, coming to 8 laps to go for car 2-8. He can do no wrong, and if he can survive for 8 more circuits, he will have led every lap and dominated this race. John Honeybrink has not pitted since lap 120. If he can get to the end on this set of tires, he will have played the strategy perfectly. 60 laps will be how long he's gone on these tires, and he sits in 2nd right now, 4.6 seconds ahead of Rockwall's Donald Ray. Bama Trama joins the chat. Mama Vols, glad to have you here once again. Send my love to the family back home in Tennessee. Love you, man. Look who's gone purple. Dustin Painter, North Carolina's Dustin Painter, with a 23.32 second lap with 7 laps to go, puts in the fastest lap of the race. How about that? What about that for fighting spirit? The North Carolinian in that awesome Buckshot Jones Pontiac puts in the fastest lap of the race. That'll be something that he can take home with him if it stands for another 6 laps. Donald Ray is 3.3 seconds behind John Honeybrink, but he's got race leader Cody Pannell behind him. Pannell makes his way to the inside of that black CarQuest Monte Carlo, and he makes light work of the Texan in third. That leaves 2 drivers on the lead lap, coming to 4 laps to go. Race leader Cody Pannell and second place John Honeybrink. Over the last 5 laps, Cody Pannell quicker than Honeybrink, but with 4 laps to go. Is it enough for Pannell to put him 1 lap down? Can Pannell get the race win, lapping every driver in this 20-car field? Talk about domination for the Georgian. He's got 3 more miles to pull off the feat. On board now with race leader Cody Pannell. He made that look way too easy. Cody Pannell just lapped every driver in this field, coming to 2 miles to go in this race. Barring a late race caution, this is going to be one of the most dominant performances we've seen this season. And here comes the battle for second, no less. Donald Ray has caught up to John Honeybrink, as the tires have also caught up to John Honeybrink. And now the 2-0 Old Spice Camry tries to defend his silver medal position unsuccessfully. He says hello to the safer barrier on the outside of turn number 2. Donald Ray will take second place away from Honeybrink, but luckily it's 7.5 seconds back between John Honeybrink and Briley Wright. Both of those Toyotas shining well for their respective Camry camps. But talking about a driver who's shown on the racetrack, Cody Pannell, with 2 corners to go in only his 3rd start this season, comes across the line, dominant in victory. Pannell wins round 6 at Dover. Brilliant drive by Cody Pannell, a dominant drive to win the 6th round of competition, and the Georgian gets the victory, lapping every driver on the field. It may have been a miserable day for some, but an absolutely brilliant drive for him. And Cody Riggs wrecking the 2.8 as he tries to get his celebration over and done with. Cody Pannell will now properly celebrate his win in car 28. Don't go anywhere, fans. We'll have podium interviews in just a moment. Your race winner from Dover, Cody Pannell. On the podium now with our top 3 interviews after a dominating victory, starting with the driver of the 2-0 Old Spice Camry, John Honeybrink. You really gave it everything, and you survived on 60-lap old tires to come home in third.
Yeah, and I was kind of shocked myself. I started in the back of the field. I didn't have a fast car, but I came up with a two-stop strategy there and came home third. Almost had second, but Donald Ray caught up to me with one to go there. It was pretty fun.
It was a fun battle to watch. I hope you had fun out there, but congratulations on that third place finish. We'll see you in a week's time.
Thanks.
Our second place finisher, the pride of Rockwall, Texas, driver of the number 5 CarQuest Chevrolet, won Donald Ray, starting on the pole and securing a second place finish. Great drive, Don. Anything that we had out there for the 28 car?
Well, the only way to get out in front of him is to get cautions. His tire management was phenomenal. He was able to pick up time pretty quickly. I short pitted on him all but the first time and was able to get ahead of him, but it was short lasted every time. Dude's fast. I mean, everybody knows Cody's fast. I don't think anybody's seen this coming, him lapping the field, but he's the man to beat in our league, and he's what makes us all want to get better, and because of him, I know I've gotten better because my goal every day is to just run with him, and I felt good on fresh tires there at the beginning. I'm sure I was holding him up a little bit, and it was fun to see that 5 car out in front of that 28 for them first, I don't know, 15 or so laps, whatever it was. But that was fun, man. How about it? How about a throw out or a shout out to the league? Green flag, start to finish, no cautions. I mean, you don't see that in iRacing and in any league, not even at the top level, man. It's a testament to these guys and the guys that race with us here.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We'll see you in 7 days' time from Charlotte. Congratulations on your silver medal, Don.
Thanks, Rick, and thanks for what you do, buddy.
Labor of love, my friend. Thank you. Our race-winning interview brought to you by the good folks over at di9 Designs, the custom graphic design page on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at di9 Designs. They post graphics on all platforms multiple times a week and take requests on all types of logos, Chase Elliott wallpapers, iRacing schemes, and more. Follow and DM them for more details. They are not affiliated with Hendrick Motorsports or Chase Elliott. Be sure to use code di9 Designs for free shipping on your diecast and merch orders over $20 on CircleBDiecast.com. And now the winner, driver of that number 28 Ford Mustang, Cody Pannell, lapping the entire field in a cautionless 180-lap race at Dover in only your third start in 6 events this season. How did you pull that off?
Well, first off, I'd just like to say I appreciate everything that Donald said. I really do enjoy running with these guys. I kind of came in late just as they were transitioning over to iRacing, and it's really is a blast every time I run with them. Every week, it's always fun to see how I stack up against everybody, and everybody has just steadily improved every week. So it's been a blast getting a race with these guys. And tonight, it was really mostly about tire management, like Jacket said. Early on in the race, I kind of decided that, I was going to go 40 40 stints there. And then at the very end, I ended up doing a little bit shorter one because there were only going to be 20 laps left. But when I pitted, so kind of just to cover off anybody short pitting me, I went ahead and short pitted. Um, and again, just to go off of what Jacket said, for us to run 180 laps at Dover, cautionless in these cars, that speaks volumes to the caliber of drivers in this league, and I couldn't be more proud to get to run with them every week.
So you're the first driver to win 2 races this season. You've got a hit rate of 66% in all your starts, 2 wins in 6 races. Next week at Charlotte, will you be there to go for 3 wins in 7 races?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be there. Charlotte's not one of my favorites, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I've just like I said, I've really enjoyed running with these guys over at TNT, and I appreciate them having me, and I appreciate all the hard work you do for the broadcasts. And looking forward to next week.
We'll see you in 7 days, but for now, Cody, you've earned a celebration. Congratulations on that race win in dominant fashion.
Thank you, Rick.
Fans at home, the last thing to do is call it quits for tonight, but just who would have thought? Who would have thought 180 cautionless laps at Dover was a possibility? Not me. But there you go. It shows how much I know. Next Thursday night, right here on Rick James TV 1, we'll be at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home of NASCAR, for more Gen 4 racing. Don't miss us. If you just can't wait, Tuesday night, we're going to have Turn Down for What Xfinity cars right here on Rick James TV. So give us a follow, give us a subscription, and until that next race, everybody, please stay safe, do take care of each other, and we will see